This is a disastrous nightmare for Donald J. Trump, as Epstein survivors just announced they will release their own list of names. We know who abused us. We saw who came and went. Here is the clip. Let's roll it out.
Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Okay, Anuska DiGiorgio, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse, made a powerful statement urging Congress to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Here's the clip. Lolit.
Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Here's the clip of Annie Farmer, Epstein survivor, says when the systems meant to protect us recreate the abuse cycle. Here the clip. Let's roll it.
I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assault at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figurative painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds, if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the systems meant to protect us recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors of them. For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret. Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so. They wanted access to his circle and his money. Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated. I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case who've expressed their solidarity with us. And I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka so explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way. From my conversations with women in these last few days and from all of the support that we've received, it's very clear to me that we are not going away, we are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up. And I ask the American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege and one for everyone else, passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators.
Next, Annie Farmers says we are horrified to learn that Ghislaine Maxwell had been transferred to a prison camp. Here is the clip.
We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of polite and minimizing term. She also participated in the abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she has painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting. And it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news. We were horrified.
Harry Robinson, Epstein survivor, says we are the keys to this situation. We have the truth. Here's the clip.
We are the keys to this situation. We have the truth. And the FBI knows the truth. The government knows the truth. You may pull the wool over the sheep's eyes, but we are the keys. We know who was involved. We know the game. We know the players. And we are sitting here for 20 years waiting for you to get up and do something. Well, guess what? Your time is up and now we're doing it.
Your time is up and now we are doing it. These are the Epstein survivors. Now, today at the Capitol Hill, when Trump was asked about these survivors, he said that this is a democratic caucus. The Democrats are using this situation to down water his achievements in this term. Let's watch the clip.
There have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now.
An Epstein survivor who identifies as a Republican invites President Donald J. Trump to a Capitol Hill to meet in person so he can understand this is not a hoax. Here is the clip, Lolly.
Question would be for the survivors, Mr. Edwards. The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
Oh, I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not. Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
Kathleen Ward, another Epstein survivor. Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey Epstein and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent my other innocent friends? Here are the clip.
My name is Courtney Wild. I was only 14 years old when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by a 13-year-old friend of mine. The details of the abuse that he inflicted on me for years is not important today. In 2028, I was cooperating with the federal government in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. They sent me a letter telling me to be patient because this was going to be a lengthy investigation, but at the same time, they refused to talk to me and tell me what was going on. So I hired an attorney, Brad Edwards, because I was hopeful to get some answers. When I walked into his office at 19 years old, Brad sued the government for refusing to tell me what was going on under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. The only reason anyone ever found out that the government had already given Jeffrey Epstein immunity through the non-prosecution agreement was because our lawsuit forced the government to tell us. Otherwise, nobody would even know that today. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I had to sue the United States just to learn that my abuser was given immunity. I started as Jane Doe, but I decided I was proud enough to take on our country, and I was on the right side of history. We fought the government for 10 years to prove that the government violated our rights as crime victims and the crime victims' rights in order to protect a pedophile. We had to win the 11th Circuit Court Appeals to force the government to turn over thousands of pages of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Those emails provided the proof that the government worked very hard with Jeffrey Epstein to violate our rights. Why? Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent friends? Why was Jeffrey so important to the government, and why was I so insignificant? Why did nobody but our lawyers care before now? It seems people have only started to care because of Twitter and politics. But I would like to say this has nothing to do with politics. This is not a blue thing or a red thing. This is an everyone thing. We can all agree on this. The injustice that has happened here, multiple, over and over. Everybody that talks about this just seems to make it worse. We need transparency. It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected? And who protected them all so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long?
Next is an Epstein survivor responded, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. When asked if she had a message to Donald J. Trump, the president, here's the clip.
Come along and speak up so that we can be more of a stronger voice and louder.
And so what is your message to President Trump on this, Maria?
Listen, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. Yeah, just pass the vote, listen to us. This is not a hoax. Like, it's not gonna go away. And like I said on my speech earlier, we're not gonna be silenced anymore. We will be speaking moving forward. Wherever we need to be, we will be, and we need to pass this.
Teresa Hem, another Epstein survivor, when asked about Todd Branch's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, she said she got airtime, she got a platform. Her voice was elevated way before our voices today. Here is the clip.
Todd Blanche.
Do you want to answer it?
I would.
Teresa will step up.
I would. Teresa J. Home. Happy to speak on that because what I will say is she got this airtime and platform. Her voice was elevated way before our voices were elevated here today. And that same calm, manipulative voice that she had so polite there that day with Todd Blanche was the same polite, coercive, manipulative voice that I heard as she was grooming me to then send me off to the home of Jeffrey Epstein where he would assault me. So that's what she was doing for hours, speaking with me, building relationship with me, building trust with me, allowing me to believe that I was going to get this job, a dream job that I had been recruited from my college, flown across the country from Los Angeles to New York City to interview, so I thought. So her voice that day was the same voice that sent me off to a monster. So nothing can be believed from what she says because she's been charged with perjury. I myself could sit there and listen, and as I did, I sat there and listened to this woman's voice lie. And there was no pushback from Todd Blanche because does he even have the facts to be able to push back on her? We could sit there and push back. Why didn't we get to attend that? Why weren't we there that day? Or why wasn't even one of us consulted prior to that day and that meeting? And why on earth has she been moved from Florida to her, it basically is a prison spa. I mean, you know, let's be real. None of us were consulted. I found out, just like everyone here found out, through the media, through all of you. We found out about Ghislaine's transfer. So I'm very angry to sit there and listen. The feelings that come up listening to this woman's voice is repulsive. Yes, I would say it's triggering. We all work very hard on healing, and it still gets to us after 2 decades. It's a very long answer, but it's repulsive to sit there and listen to her voice in her interview.
Another Epstein survivor says, this is not a partisan issue. This is a crime that has 1,000 victims. Here's the...
This is not a partisan issue. This is a crime. The crime of sex trafficking, and the criminals must be held accountable. Disbelieving survivors creates a culture of silence. There is strength in numbers, and our courage is contagious. I want to humanize sex trafficking survivors for you all, just for one moment. We are not others. We are your sisters, your friends, your colleagues. We are in your community. Think about the women that you love, and then think about them being the victim of sexual assault. It's uncomfortable, and it's hard to think about. Could you stand for their abuse? I hope not. This is a crime that, by our Justice Department's own admission, has 1,000 victims. 1,000 victims. Do you know 1,000 people? Think of the enormity of that. Could you be okay with a crime happening in your community to 1,000 girls and young women and not holding the perpetrators accountable? I think not.
Here's the clip of Representative Jim McGovern blasts Donald J. Trump for saying Americans' focus on Epstein file is irrelevant. Here is the clip.
You know, while he was going on that tirade, I went back and I listened to Donald Trump's press conference at the White House. And not only did he call the move to release the Epstein files a Democratic hoax, he said it was designed to get the American people to focus in on something that was irrelevant. Now let that sink in. I mean, if you listen to the survivors that were in front of the Capitol just a few minutes ago, listen to their horror stories? That's irrelevant? I mean, that the President of the United States of America would say something like that is pathetic. You know, I mean, he could, you know, very easily put all this controversy to rest by just releasing the files. And that is why we need to pass the Mass Econa bill, because we could actually pass a bill that would compel him to do that. What you all did in the Rules Committee last night is a resolution that doesn't really mean anything. It's designed as...
And there is a clip here of a Republican representative, Nas Massey, just defied Trump and signed the petition to release the full Epstein files after she suffered a panic attack and ran out of a meeting with the Epstein victims in tears. Okay, let's load the clip here. Okay, that's what I want to wrap about today. We'll meet another day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's meet in the comment section. God bless.